Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Here's a video with several different things that typically, especially a dad, is not doing in their family law case. So, first of all, whether they got an attorney or not, they've been through two or three or four attorneys. Most dads, they're not doing discovery. I've had dads who the other side will send a questionnaire, or they'll receive a questionnaire or interrogatories, requests for production, requests for admission. They'll receive it from the other side, but the dad won't do that, or the dad's attorney is not doing that. It doesn't make any sense. When I started out my custody case, and I was representing myself and I was learning as I went, and I knew nothing about discovery, when the mother's attorney sent me his first set of interrogatories, that was 170 questions, I just got on my computer and wrote out the exact same thing for her in a pleading, and then sent them one right back. Like I did it over the weekend or something. In my flow page, I have a sample of interrogatories that's mandatory, or it's an example from the Seattle courthouses out here, which is kind of standard for family law case. Anybody can download that and then look at your rules and then work it accordingly. Like if I can't remember how, let's say it has 60 questions and your court rules are in your county, your local county rules say that you can't have more than 40 questions or something, then just take out the questions that you don't really care that much about, or change to the questions that you want. I've had that free resource there for, a long time, and people check out my flow page never even mention it. I have to mention it to them, and it's right there for the taking. Like, this is why I don't give anybody any excuses. People come on my page, well, the system is hard. I just had an argument with a guy in Australia, and I did a video on him. He said, what you're saying is, doesn't work because they have bias toward the mother 99% of the time. First of all, why do you think I'm on here? I already acknowledged the bias. We already all know the bias. What I'm doing is sharing with people stuff that works despite the prejudice and bias in the system. I got full custody of my daughter without an attorney, despite the bias in the system. This is where guys are so beat down, or they were told, be a slave, be a second-class parent, and don't stand up for yourself. I had attorneys and I had other people. I even had family tell me, just back down and give her what she wants. I couldn't do that because I had some balls and I had a conscience, and I couldn't sit back and listen to stupid advice from stupid people who had never done this stuff before or were in the system. And, Goldberg and Jones, the divorce lawyers for men in Seattle, told me I'll only get every other weekend, even though I lived 3 blocks away and I worked at night. And my baby's mom, when she was going back to work, I should at least be the daycare. They said you probably still get every other weekend. I have a video on them on my YouTube channel. There's a section where I talk about corrupt lawyers and judges and stuff, and there's a video under there talking about them. So when I was totally lost and I didn't have a James Christensen or site like this or resources out there that I give to you guys for free, when I didn't have that information out there, I didn't tolerate the bull crap. So the fact when people come to me and say, oh, I can't, the system sucks and it's biased. No shit, Sherlock. What do you think I'm doing here? If it was perfectly fair, if it was a perfectly wonderful world, then nobody would need any services in family court. You walk in family court, pick a number, and they say, okay, 50-50 for you, 50-50 for you. But we're in a corrupt system. How come my gender doesn't have the balls like black people in the civil rights movement, or women during the suffrage movement, or Japanese folks demanding, compensation for being put in concentration camps, or any group of people who had to fix something? Every group of people has had some stage of oppression throughout history. Yet, when it comes to dads, we're a bunch of entitled divas. And if the court isn't going to automatically give us 50-50, we just surrender like a bunch of bitches. Have you ever had to stand up for anything in your life? Did you grow up in a single mother home and mommy babied you the whole time and never taught you how to be a man? Is that why you don't want to do anything? So, guys are generally not doing discovery. More specifically, guys are not doing depositions. I just had a guy in northern Washington. He conducted his own deposition by himself and destroyed the mother's credibility and schooled her attorney. I have a video on my YouTube channel. If you type in deposition on the main, you have the main video, and right above it, there's a magnifying glass. That's where you can search topics within my page. Your cell phone won't let, the cell phone app, the YouTube app won't let you do that. But if you do it on a desktop computer, laptop, and maybe you could do it on an iPad, you could type in the word deposition. I explain what depositions are. It's the number one tool and weapon available. I have people who watch me for months or years, and then they get a first consult with me, and they never did a deposition and never pushed it for their attorney. Or they brought it up to their attorney and said, no, that's too hard, or we don't want to tip them off. I have a video that deals with that. You're not tipping anybody off by asking questions that you have to ask at trial. If they answer the question at a deposition, they don't get to change their story at trial. And if you ask them questions at depositions, you could save some surprise questions based on their answer for trial. That's how stupid these moronic, airheaded, dumbed-down, numbnuts attorneys are. They think doing a deposition is tipping somebody off. Everybody does a deposition in civil lawsuits for malpractice or a car accident or something like that. Why do they do it? Because they want answers up front ahead of time. Another thing people aren't doing is being willing to take their case to trial. Everybody's such a scared, little shaking in their boots, little scaredy cat that they don't want to even attempt to go to trial. And then, or you go to mediation, your attorney says, you better sign that because I'm not going to trial with you, or we'll go to trial and I want another $10,000. Screw you. I'll do it myself. You can do trial yourself. You know that? I've had countless people. I've had guys who are construction workers who work with me on trial prep and did their own 3 to 4 day trials and totally destroyed the other side and had the courts clerks or bailiffs asking, have you ever been to law school, or where'd you learn how to do all this stuff? It's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of time to grasp the stuff. People aren't doing discovery, aren't doing their own trials. They're not getting on the offensive and calling people out for what's wrong with them. You're going to court to argue what's the truth and who wins and the factors under the law. And you're not doing that in a court of law. That's like a prosecutor prosecuting somebody for murder, and they said, oh, we got a dead body. This person caused the body to die. But then you don't argue how they intended to do it, or, they were a vindictive boyfriend who was jealous because he thought his girlfriend was having an affair, or his wife was having an affair, so he went after her. So you spend time at trial trying to prove the mental assent or the intent. You would be stupid to be a prosecutor, and you got to prove those 3 elements. A dead body, you caused a dead body, and you did it intentionally. If you don't have the intent, then you have manslaughter. So you're going to court and saying, oh, I should have custody, or guys will say, well, I just want 50-50. So you go in there and say, I just want 50-50. If you ask for 50-50, you are saying that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the mother. Then she comes into court and says, this is why 50-50 is a losing attempt. And the father's rights movement idiots say, well, we're not going to go for custody because we're not going to lower ourselves to them, and children need both parents. You stupid idiots. This is a game in court. You don't go in there and say, well, I'm going to be the good guy and I'm going to ask for nice stuff. And when I do, I'm going to win. No, you dumbass. What you're doing is you're saying that she's a great 50-50 parent candidate. And then when she comes out and says you're domestically violent, you abuse the kids, you molested the kids, you're angry, you have all these problems, then you're jumping through all these hoops, and then you go to court and say, well, she's the one who's crazy, she was suicidal, she abused the kids and alienated the kids. Now all of a sudden you're changing your story. You should come with the full story up front and argue in a court of law what your legal wins are. So these are just a few of there's plenty others, but these are a few things people